very much moving into the area where if the information isn't available, whether it's healthcare, whether it's your financial institution, whether it's stock trading institutions, if their IT equipment isn't up and running, then bad things are going to happen.
Schneider Electric, Data Center Solutions. Most of us never even think about how we get our information. We turn on our computers or power up our phones, and immediately we have access to everything, from critical financial records to trivial internet memes.
Consumers today expect that I'm going to be able to get my information anytime, anywhere, on any device.
It's the introduction of cloud computing within the last few years that has driven enormous growth in the IT industry. And as cloud applications become more ubiquitous around the world, the trend is set to continue for the foreseeable future.
100% des accès à Internet en 2005 étaient faits par des fixed lines, par des connexions fixes, et 80%. Qu'il dépense dans ces différents process.
We can drastically simplify the operator's experience and give them more functionality and access to more tools for improving the performance of the data center.
It also allows us to have a very good understanding of what is the current assets inside of the data center, which enables us to do better simulation of future changes and the impacts of those changes.
What we are doing with StructureWare is driving to much more out-of-the-box standardized functionality related to data center operations. To drive up the functionality we can provide, the speed at which it can be deployed, and the reliability of those systems.
But Schneider Electric's innovation doesn't end at the data center door. StructureWare for data centers offers planning and control not just for the data center itself, but everything in the building that might affect data center performance too.
Any customer building a data center can't just look at the IT room, they've got to look at the overall facility infrastructure as well.
With StructureWare for data centers, your team can manage your sustainability planning to your process control and everything in between.
Les gens du board de l'entreprise qui doivent gérer l'empreinte carbone de la totalité de leurs équipements et au travers tous les sites et tous les pays dans lesquels ils sont implantés. Et que ce soit des immeubles de bureaux, des usines, des data centers, ils doivent gérer l'ensemble de ces informations et arriver à avoir une stratégie énergétique.
Schneider Electric's holistic energy management solutions are already helping customers to become business-wise and future-driven.
So when we talk about a business-wise, future-driven data center, our goal is to make sure that we've given the customer all of the access to the future technologies and cutting-edge things that we can do, but at the same time trying to make sure that they're doing what makes sense for their business.
Which is exactly what Schneider Electric has done for Microsoft. When the Microsoft Technology Center in Paris needed to combine 2 data centers into one, Schneider Electric helped make it happen, reducing the data center's average PUE from 3.34 to 1.45. On the net, this Tier 3 colocation facility in Australia needed a scalable solution to accommodate future growth, so they turned to Schneider Electric. Our data center solutions helped them double their power availability, provide full redundancy for their customers, and reduce energy costs by nearly 30%.
At Schneider Electric, our role isn't to steer or guide the industry, it's to respond to the needs of the information technology industry. And we do that by bringing to bear the best technology that we can find against the real customer problems that are faced on a day-to-day basis.
By bringing solutions such as StructureWare for data centers to market, which allow customers to closely manage their energy consumption, Schneider Electric is helping data center professionals around the world recognize energy and cost savings from the rack to the row to the room to the building and beyond.
Evaluserve is a global research and analytics firm. We were set up in December 2000 and currently we are over 3,200 employees over multiple locations across the globe. Using our mind and machine strategy, we analyze substantial amount of data to provide actionable insights to our clients for their 24/6 mission critical processes. The latest data center by Schneider has really helped us in providing seamless connectivity across our multiple locations.
We at Evaluserve provide research, analytics, and data management services across a variety of sectors. We use smart algorithms powered by mind and machine. In that process, we generate a huge amount of data to provide insights to our clients. To help us do that, we need a state-of-the-art data center which helps us manage these processes 24/7 and 365 days a year. And if we go back about a decade old, we were managing our old data center, which was sufficient at that point of time. But if we look at what we are managing today and what we need today, the data center is not sufficient enough. And we decided to revamp our data center so that we can meet the changing requirements in the industry. We needed a partner who can come and understand our need and helps us transform our data center. We found a great partner in Schneider who came and understood the requirement and designed a data center which is not only meeting the requirement for today, but they have helped us design a futuristic data center which can very well gel with our strategy and scalability. We were managing a live data center and the challenge was to build a data center without disrupting the existing data center. Schneider helped us build the data center without a single minute of disruption, where we implemented 5 network racks, 12 server racks, and 3 efficient cooling towers, which could help us build both hot aisle and cold aisle, and also with the metered PDUs, which could give us the energy consumption in a real time. While designing the data center, the availability of power was also a challenge. That's where we decided to implement redundant UPS system, and Schneider helped us build it very, very efficiently.
With UPS utilization increasing from less than 20% to above 60%, ensuring better efficiency. The selected UPS delivered an overall efficiency of up to 94%, resulting in a remarkable reduction of operational costs.
We also wanted this to be integrated with our existing systems so that we can monitor and manage that data center better. We were also facing challenges in terms of load per rack, which we could not identify in real time. The automation in form of DCIM gives us complete control over our data center, which can not only helps us design the data center efficiently, but also gives us.
Schneider Electric also implemented infrastructure management software solution through which Evaluserve can manage and monitor the complete infrastructure, complete data center, complete facility from a single dashboard.
We see a range of benefits after the new data center is live. It's now one of the most energy efficient data center we have ever seen in the history of Evaluserve. The data center today offers us high availability, high scalability, and also provide efficient energy management. Today, Evaluserve has perhaps the most advanced and energy efficient data center in the country, thanks to a partner who makes most of their energy, Schneider Electric.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a wonderful evening. And I request everybody to please settle down. We would be starting in next 5 minutes. And yes, to avoid the interruption, I request everybody to either keep their phone on silent mode or you can switch off your cell phone. We will be starting in next 5 minutes. Thank you.
we from the infrastructure team started looking at
Well, ladies and gentlemen, a wonderful evening to all the people out here. Wonderful evening. Very good evening, guys. Oh, that should be a little more louder. Very good evening. All right, thank you so much for, giving little energy to the crowd. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Parveen and I'm the host for the next few hours. I heartily welcome you all to Schneider Electric and the Economic Times presents Innovation at Every Level Summit 2016. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we start off, yes, a few information which is really important, as most of the people are not aware of that this particular event is getting live. And yes, you can also tweet about this event writing hashtag, which is Innovation Forum at ET_Edge. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can also talk about this. You can, ask your friends to check out by logging to the website, which is www.et-datainfrastructure.com. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a little more information. What are we going to do today evening? And yes, we have a lot of people to give you more and more, because today is the day we're going to gain more and more information about data. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in the recent years, data center has been at the heart of most IT leaders' vision, whether present or future, with greater business demands for web and mobile access to applications and data residing in the data center. The need for greater flexibility is only going to grow, and such complexity would increasingly be an opponent of achieving the desired flexibility. Hence, ladies and gentlemen, in order to discuss the critical challenges opportunities pertaining to data center, it is imperative we have a platform like this to bring upon the stakeholders and influencers of the industry on a common podium. So ladies and gentlemen, here I call upon the very first speaker of the evening with a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Let's welcome, with a welcome note, we have Ms. Soni Pandwalkar, GM Strategic Marketing. With a huge round of applause. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up.
Good evening and namaste, Bengaluru. So thank you, and first of all, apologies for making some of you wait, and we can all blame it on the traffic, thankfully. But for those who are very particular in punctuality, I guess Bangalore is the wrong city for you to be in, right? Okay, to start with, welcome everybody with my sincere apologies from Schneider Electric and the Economic Times. To begin with, I want to touch on the theme and the topic, innovation at every level. I guess innovation, we all know what innovation is. Each one can write a page impromptu on the word innovation. But when we talk about innovation at every level, what does it mean? Two things I would like to explain of how the entire evening is going to pan out is, number one, there is an economic churn. There is a digital churn going on, so to speak, like a manthan, where you put in the pot the IoT, Digital India, Make in India, the technology progression that we can't keep up with, and to add all of it, the recent demonetization. What does it impact? Okay. Is it all just about a product, that innovation we should talk about, or the process, or the impact of how we can be ready to take on these changes and these challenges? So that is number one. So can it be limited to just a product, or can you apply this? For example, with this demonetization, imagine what will it do to companies, or rather us? We've had problem exchanging, etc. Who's benefiting here? Can you name a company? It is Paytm, one company, right? Can you imagine them rising up their charts in beating all records, perhaps in their targets, etc.? It's good for them. It's good for a lot of us. We're going the digital way. It's also for middle class people like us who probably used to use debit card for withdrawal, but you can use it for a lot more reasons now. But is Paytm ready today? Is their back-end infrastructure ready to take this pressure? How are they managing it? How are they adopting it? Is their infrastructure or data center ready? How are they managing it? Right? So that's one way to look at it. So innovation can be at every level. The second point is your infrastructure goes through different phases. It starts from planning, designing. You need to implement it. You need to be ready in terms of capacity, business continuity, etc., etc. You need specialists to manage it, you operate it. You need to also ensure that it is operating at optimum level, etc. And also to check and keep a check on, is your infrastructure modern and up to date? So there is innovation at all of these levels, starting from design, optimizing, checking whether your infrastructure is there, up there, etc. So we are going to talk about a lot of people here. So welcome. We have a huge list of panelists. Thanks for agreeing to join the panel to discuss something like this. We also have Nikhil Pathak, who will talk about how Schneider Electric as a company believes very much as our mission and vision, that we believe innovation is at every level and we are doing our best to be ready at all of these levels. We also have some other speakers from the industry and from Schneider and Economic Times. So the discussion is going to be extremely interesting, something very, very new. So welcome all, and feel free to ask questions if you want to interrupt, etc. The idea is to make it very, very engaging, and the idea is also to go back for us what your thoughts are. So welcome again, and would invite the next speaker, right?
Thank you so much. Let's give it up one round of applause. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I take the opportunity to call upon our next speaker of the evening. And yes, He's going to throw lights on trends and futuristic view in managing DCs and IT. So ladies and gentlemen, let's put your hands together for Mr. Ajay Bakshi, SVP. With a huge round of applause, Business Transformation, Aegis. Let's give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for Mr. Ajay Bakshi.
Wow. Clear? Let's innovate. Friday evening, Bangalore, traffic jams, and we are all here. Isn't it fantastic and wonderful? And we need to make the most of it. Thank you, E.T. Thank you, Schneider, to begin with. And thank you, each one of you as well, because you have braved the entire week, and at the weekend almost starting, and you guys are here. That's great. Be relaxed, be light, as if you are in high school. We understand being in DC is the most, if I have to say, thankless job in the world. If it works fine, you are not doing anything. Server is running, right? Network is running. ISPs are doing their job. If something goes down, still you have not done anything. So that's the situation in which DC people find themselves. How many of you are pure DC guys? Just want to understand. Balance, what? Application, security? Mixed. So the life in DC somehow is like that. All of you have grayed your hairs, whatever, by seeing PPTs. So you are interested in one? No? Fine, we won't have PPTs. But listen very carefully, because whatever I say, after 2 pegs, neither I will remember nor you. So just understand and grasp whatever comes and whatever makes sense. Value. So, high frustration in the job. Some people also feel not a very good career choice that we made after our engineering or whatever we did. You don't sleep well. Night time you are at home, but you are always worried. Maybe some mail comes, some issue. The word issue, like dreaded word. System downtime are these two keywords which you will wish never listen, but you are forced to listen again and again, again and again. So DCs are here around, and these are the very good times for DC, because say mass consumerization of IT started sometime, you take 95, 97 around. So a typical DC is in a full teen, right? Teen of 20, 18, depending your industry and depending when your organization started really taking DC seriously. Now that is the age, 18 to 20. Either you can just go down, acquiring some habits, some trends, you just go down. Or you make a determination to yourself that yes, this is the age to really do something in life. And believe me, 20 years in a DC world is nothing. We haven't even scratched the surface of the whole data tsunami that is going to come. The data thing that is planned to grow is huge. Can't even imagine right now. So it is exactly the ripe age, and I will prove by the end of my session that you are in a very good career. If you do X, Y, Z, and we'll discuss that. For years, DC means what? Computing. Make sure computing resources are available. Make sure network is available all the time. So these are the two benchmarks, initial days. Security was still a very, very subdued thing. Prime focus was, I need computing. With the computing, with the thing happening, storage starts increasing, data starts increasing. Fine, so you started working on those things. Now storage comes, security comes. Suddenly you hear something, power is a big thing in data center. I won't agree. Will you? Do you agree power is a big thing? Yes? Okay, we'll discuss. So you start hearing organizations coming and saying power saving. We'll save power. We'll give you machines which will save power. And for 5 minutes, let me take a position which is no. It doesn't matter to you. And when I say you, I'm saying you and your organization, not to the universe. And I will still humbly say, do not approach your CFO saying, I'll buy this equipment and you will save 20% power. Because you will not. In his eyes, you will not save it. Why? A company of mid-size, say 800,000 crores. How much will be the utility bill? 5 crores? Approx? Right? How much of that 5 crore come from data center, electricity? Say 1 crore. Even if you replace everything, which you will never be able to do, even if you do in progressive term, you will still save 20-25%. Now, if you go to your CFO and say, wow, I am bringing this, he is not seeing your 1 crore to 80 lakhs. He is seeing his 1,000 crore of revenue that he generates. What is this guy doing to me? Oh, he has come with saying, oh, okay, 20 lakhs. You are actually taking your own position down. Do not go with this logic to your CFO or your seniors. It shows what have you thought. What you thought, 1 crore becomes 80 lakhs. You are not for this. You need to approach this whole situation with this as a side benefit. Everybody in business is only thinking how to take 1,000 crores to 1,200 crores, 1,500 crores. You need to think on that direction. You apply that as a bread and this power saving comes as a jam or butter on top of it. Believe me. This 20 lakhs to a CFO of 800 crores means nothing. If you continue to attempt your goal in that way, you will end up frustrated. That is not what organizations look at a person who is at a senior level. Never do that. Second, so power is of no use to how many servers people in this room would be having in office? 200, 100, 300, 400, something like that. Right? They also are scattered, so your power saving cannot happen in that place. How many of you have meters outside your DC room? Can I know? Nobody. So had I started my session with how many of you are energy efficient data center controller, I can say 90% of you would have raised your hands. And it happened in one of earlier sessions. But when this question comes, how many of you are actually having electricity meter outside your DC? No. That's how our infrastructure is like that in many of our offices. Then how do you say you saved electricity? What is the proof you saved electricity? Nothing. So it's a belief, it's a concept, and it's a hopefully good concept. And hopefully it works also. But when the bill comes, there is generator bill, there is light bill, there is a water pump bill, everything comes into one. So again you miss your mark to mark your real efficiency. So if you really want to track all these things, make sure if you can find a way, whatever current is getting inside, put some sub-meter, which is of course not a straight electricity board meter, but which is your meter, which you control, whether really your efforts are taking shape or not. So, power saving is of certain relevance. Now, let me give you another fact which will be directly opposite of it. How many server Google has? Any idea? Any guesses? Oh, 40,000. Wow. 9 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 12 lakhs. Okay, let me tell you. Google never discloses it. Undisclosed figure, which a lot of data center experts have guessed, runs somewhere between 9 lakh to 16 lakhs with whatever accuracy level if you run. Microsoft is 12 lakhs and that's a disclosed figure. Amazon's capacity is 5 times more than some of its next 14 competitors including Google. Now you comprehend. For them, power is a serious issue. Last year's study of US says the total data center power consumption was like 34 power stations of 500 megawatt each. That much energy in US, and when we all know that many of these companies have started shifting into APAC, their data centers. 34 power stations, 500 megawatt each is being consumed by US data centers. By 2020, they expect a demand for 51 power stations. How will you get additional 17, 18 power stations created in such a short time? When you have government regulations, when you have so many issues around that, fossil fuel or nuclear fuel, which fuel you use, but you need to get 17. When I interact with many senior people, they say a lot of our initiatives on IoT are stuck. Why? When we say that every step you take will be tracked, when we say that everywhere your vehicle goes will be tracked, we are talking your data quantum multiplying by 1 lakh. Even zettabyte will be a short figure once IoT comes into play. You open your fridge, there is a signal. You pick a bottle, there is a signal. You walk, there is a signal. And artificial intelligence comes, machine learning comes. A lot of people who are in manufacturing industry are getting undue pressure of doing something on machine learning. My machine is running there, it is weaving threads, it is making shirts. I want to know when it will go breakdown. Okay, now CIO is looking, what do I have to do with this? Right, but that's a changing time. CIO of a manufacturing industry who was so far contented with maintaining servers and all that, making sure the line is up, now has to tell or get into mechanical side of things, a predictive analysis, when will this machine may go down? How do I check it, find, do some study? So inside there is a motor, inside there is a bearing, keep listening a noise, put a noise sensor which creates your graph, and if you see some kit happening, immediately warn. What data are we asking? Huge, humongous data. Fantastic, so you all are sleeping well. Once IoT comes, what will happen to your sleep? Can you imagine so much of data? And then ransomware guys will knock at your door. So is it a good job being in data center? Nice career? So, power consumption comes from there. So Google is now going undersea. Microsoft has opened one. They are trying to put one in Alaska, Ireland. Cool Air will make sure all this problem will get solved. But nobody is willing to commit on this. Now comes the implosion of the data. So you have no choice. Your power centers are not so big enough that you can handle things. Third challenge, firefighting. Many of you are still firefighting, not in strategic mode. You are continuously worried about your business demands. And the business guy comes and says, I want this. Business feels you have unlimited resources. Do you know? Talk to business guys somewhere. They believe, yeah, suddenly this demand comes. I went and told him he's not giving. Now, you all know you can't give. You don't have. But business doesn't think so. Business thinks you have unlimited server. 2 people are joining even companies are struggling. 5 people are joining tomorrow. You don't have laptops in office. Nobody told us, sir. HR never told us when person is joining. Now he has joined and now there is a pressure on me to buy immediately. So what do I do? Call my vendor and get the system up somehow. Then somebody in audit will say they purchased at a high price. They have not followed the process. So you are trapped, fully trapped. Your business comes to you as if it is their birthright to demand things. They don't understand your complexity at all. You show them your 20 PPTs or architectures and everything, they won't understand. They say, I don't know. That's your specialized area. I need this service. Can you give me this service? 9 out of 10 surveys in organizations say from a business side, IT is yet to catch up with us. 9 out of 10 surveys of data center people say business is running in a very unplanned fashion. They are just running as like they don't know what is planning. Now where is reality in between this? You can't survive without them, they can't survive without you, that is the reality. So now this age is the crux of the age, where you as a data center specialist can make your point. But how will you make your point? If you are busy in firefighting all the time, every 1 hour you go and see your link is up or not, every 2 hours you see what is your CPU utilization and all those things, and you have 20 people sitting and taking calls to set the passwords, believe me, we haven't grown there. And that is where the opportunity lies. Many of my friends, many of the organizations, continuously as we meet and we talk, we come across this whole challenge. So what is the way out? The only and only way out is you have to support business as if they are God. Take it or leave it. They are revenue earners. At the end of the day, they are revenue earners. And what they give you to do as a service is an opportunity for you to excel. You have your constraints understood, very well understood. How do you cover the gap? And you cannot cover the gap if you are doing firefighting. So sit back and think. Take 5 days leave, go sit somewhere, Ooty, Shimla. Think, what are you doing? Every day, how many tickets closed, how many tickets came, this, that. That's not DC. That's not a life where you think strategically and make a progress. So what do? Simple solution. Outsource. Now you may say, outsource, very expensive. Believe me, with the tsunami of data coming, you won't be able to hire people with right skill sets. You will struggle to get people. And what all these companies of the world, Google, Amazons of the world are doing is, by doing power saving, by doing innovation, Google has saved 30% after taking over a company in artificial intelligence. They have scattered all their data all across the globe. There's a scattered architecture. You won't be able to create on your own inside your house. They will make the cost of outsourcing so cheap, you yourself will feel, yeah, I can't maintain it. You cannot do that. And that is the reality which is going to hit pretty soon. You will take a hit on skilled manpower. You will take a hit from the technologies that are coming. IPv6, how many of you are fully IPv6 compliant? 1, 2, 3, half hands, full hands. SDN, mushrooming of your bandwidth pipes, where all the pipes come into a tank, and then from there you take your resources. It doesn't matter which link goes up or which link doesn't goes down. SDN, SSDs are coming. So this is the time to get into those. Because once these big companies put that pressure, even we will see that maintaining a small data center is a very, very tough job. Not only because you won't be scale up, you won't have scaling things. Paytm example. One night, who dreamt in Paytm that this will happen? They have to scale up suddenly. This happens with ESPN Cricinfo every now and then. Match comes, they have to scale up. Something goes down, we don't even bother to hit their servers. Something happens, everybody is on that. Those fluctuations are rare maybe in your businesses. Your may be a very, very straightforward businesses. You may be running a business, okay, keep a mail server, keep something here, keep a file server here and all those things. These companies will make it so damn cheap, you won't be able to survive saying, I will run on my own. There were times people will say, we won't pass on our accounts to accountants. They used to write in their books and ledgers. Why? There was a fear my data will go away. Can they survive today? Every school said, we won't automate ourselves because how many students are reading in our school, what is their score sheet, what is their everything, all that data will go out if I go and automate. Today, can a school survive without it? No way. So what is the change in Life Center that we as a data center people will see is our adaptability to change towards these things. If we can do it, the people who will do will be highly successful. And there are reasons for it. There is a shortage of skilled manpower. There is a shortage of people who can do strategic thinking within their own organization and go to their seniors and say, hold on, we are doing like this, fantastic, we have been doing like this for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, I feel with this available, this is the way forward, can you support me or not? The one skill, of course, you have to convince your boss, but not always with money. And every business is thinking innovation. You don't even know, next day another guy will come and say, I want to change this in my process. What that means for your data center, you can't even dream right now. They will suddenly say, I want changing one feature in my application, which may create a huge load on your system. I'll give you one example. One of a big company, they used to do interviews. People are coming, going, fine. People come, fill something, they do interview. Now they say, we all want to track across the globe, wherever this guy has gone, was he already our earlier employee, this, that, and they have a huge employee base, 2 lakh employee base, 2 lakh employee company. So many people come and go. What that means? Every record that gets entered now has to be scanned against 20 lakh records before you save it. Simple thing? Yeah, simple. You create emails, it tells you, right? User ID already exists. Simple thing. Simple thing for Google, Yahoo and all those things. For you, now you will get into issue. Oh, I have to, every record coming into the day, I have to scan against 30,000, say 30 lakhs records and then save. My processing capacity goes up. Simple features change by a business can create this issue. And if you say, wow, I have asked for additional capacity, 2 months it will take from server to come from Singapore, in the next office meeting you are gone. The entire blame of something not moving at a business innovation level falls on your head. Does it happen? No? Yes? Yes or no? Yeah. So I made you emotional. So, where is the opportunity now? Opportunity is exactly in this, outsourcing. And again I say, time for many of the people, and you are also at a very ripe age, not only data center is at sweet 18 and 20, you are also in your mid-40s, where now you should come out of management and get into strategic things. Because if you don't get into strategic things, you are neck deep into the doing same things every day, and you won't be able to catch up. Your knowledge gap will become so big that these guys of tomorrow will not, you won't be able to stand. What they say won't make sense to you. What they say, this technology works like this, you won't even understand it. So, future is extremely bright in data center. Entire world is going to be dependent on data center. Otherwise, things don't work. I know a friend who actually lost his job. Why? He belongs to a big food distribution company. We all order and we all get foods. And this is a Delhi story. People were ordering when they go from office, they will order food, pizza, whatever, and they expect by the time they reach home, it should be delivered. 2 months, this company was in serious problem. One, the bandwidth, the connectivity, the GPS signals at various junctions, various roads, various traffic, and the device from which the user is coming. Everything matters, right? It's like an electric circuit. The whole path is just like an electric circuit. 1 point breaks, the signal goes away, the packet goes away. 2 months it took for infra to give the suitable hardware. They launched their application. Wow, customer can apply. Somewhere customer is applying and the data is not reaching the destination. You can say bad programming, you can say bad infrastructure, but at the end result, application says, no sir, application is fine, come sir, supply here, it goes into database, my job is over. So who took the ownership? It came on bandwidth guys. It came on hardware guys. Something has to be done, it has to be scaled up, data is not there, this is not there. Business said we lost so many orders. All orders went to competition. The guy reaches home, he says, order nahi, abhi tak kuch nahi. Hello, I ordered. No sir, we have not received any order. Serious problem. So, why future is bright is exactly for the same reasons. The opportunities in the data center are going to be humongous. You won't be able to handle each and everything on your own. In Philippines, we have our office which is entirely managed by BMS system. Now here in India, we are trying to implement, obvious challenges are coming, will come, because there are a lot of things in the wiring also that has to be factored in. And luckily that was a new office also there in that country, so we were able to put those things from the beginning. Now what happens? One guy is sitting on a console, sitting there he controls everything. I'm going back to power. Now again, power saving still in that facility is not very high compared to the whole revenue that comes out from the facility. But the mindset, the thought process that yes, this is important, this needs to be saved, this needs to be done. And many employees then came back to our office and say, from where we have taken it, we want, why? Sir, the sensor is very good. If we walk, we know what is happening. I want for my home. So many people get motivated towards it. So power is just one segment. IoT will come with a huge deluge which we all have to manage. There is no second answer to it. So what next? It's up to you guys, what you make out of it and how do you take things forward. And there are hundreds of opportunities shaping up in data center capability. You will see a huge change happening. 20 years from now, this will be a path-breaking area, believe me. Believe me. No application can work without a backbone support. Nothing will work without a good DC in place. First 20 years are like your youth. Now next 20 is for data center people to really crack it up. Thank you. I hope something made sense.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was very informative. Well, we would like to felicitate the gentleman. And to do the honors, I request Ms. Archana Naidu to please come on stage to hand over the token of appreciation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up a huge round of applause. Thank you so much. Well, I request both of you all to please get seated. Well, ladies and gentlemen, moving on towards the next speaker, and the next session is going to be on innovation at every level. And yes, to take it further, we have Mr. Nikhil Pathak, Vice President and Country General Manager, IT, Schneider Electric IT Business. So let's give it up a huge round of applause for Mr. Nikhil Pathak.
Good evening. Thanks, Ajay, for setting up the context and very, very real life situation. Yes, data center is the most exciting place to be in with a lot of challenges because today our life is driven by technology. Just imagine if the WhatsApp goes off for 2 hours, what happens? And if no data in WhatsApp, because every data is getting processed in data center. So if a data center goes down, no data, no WhatsApp, what happens to us? So it's the most critical infrastructure today. I don't know how many people see WhatsApp message before going to sleep, and the moment they get up, they look at WhatsApp, right? So that's the life today, and that's is being driven by data center. So yes, it's the most exciting place to be in. So that's right, but then also there is a lot beyond that. So before I get into talking about innovation at every level and how Schneider Electric is realizing or shaping up that, a big thank you to all of you for joining today evening. We know that your time is precious, especially in Bangalore, driving down few hours and being here. We are privileged to have your company. So thank you so much for joining today. So innovation at every level, that's a topic, that's a core topic today. And before we get into it, I'd just like you people to look at 4 trends. Where are we heading today? Okay, so the world today is going to be more electric because every technology, every device, more and more electricity, that's what we use. Without that, we can't function, so it's going to be more electric. It's going to be more digitized. I just talked about WhatsApp, but it's beyond that. It's just one small part of it, but the life would be governed by data. That means digitization over 2020. The world is going to be more decentralized in terms of how do we manage our energy. 80% plus new energy producing would happen by alternate energy source and not really the one which we know, thermal power plants. So that's going to be more and more decentralized. But then there is a challenge, and the challenge is it's going to be more decarbonized because so much of opportunity lies today in the world for energy efficiency, which is, we may not be knowing, much as we know that our buildings are efficient, more than 80% of opportunity in building to make it more efficient. More than half opportunity, 50% industry to make it more efficient, and so for infrastructure. So more electric, more digitized, more decarbonized, and more decentralized. And that's the 4th thing which you will see the trends shaping up the future. So digitization, how digitization is driving. I think all of us know. We have talked about Internet of Things, digitization. By 2020, we'll see 30 billion connected devices, more than 4 billion people who are going to get connected. And this just tells us the enormous amount of data explosion which will happen. So I'm not going to be reading this, but this is also causing a big disruption. And that disruption is being driven by technology. So digitization has an impact, and this is just a statistics. more likely the way things are happening, the way IoT, Internet of Things or Internet of Everything is happening, we will exceed these statistics over 2020. Amazing figures, right? We read it, but we are realizing it. So 3 key challenges which is going to happen. Our IT infrastructure, our data center, the demand what it is calling for in terms of technological refresh is going to happen rapidly. We used to build data center to last, and one of the event I was talking, I said we need to build data center to change. Because very soon we would be required to change the configuration in data center, the blade server coming up. The rack density is increasing, right, today. And whole lot of infrastructure in terms of efficiency may need to be changed. Now this is something which is causing a quick action which is to be taken. And so managing it is going to be difficult at speed. And we are seeing a big shift. So more than 80% would be on cloud, 40% on premise. That's kind of an estimate. The second thing is a speed at which we need to take decision, and the speed at which we need to understand the technology refresh. So that's another essential part of it. And then you can see what's the bill of data center electricity consumption globally, which is close to 250 billion euro. This is where we talk about 800,000 server with some web giant, someone has 900,000 servers with web giant, what Ajay had been talking. 250 billion euro bill, energy bill in data center. And once again, there you will see the energy consumption from 600 terawatt in 2015 would move to 1,400 terawatt in 2020. So that's a kind of shift. Needle is moving so drastically upward for power consumption. And this is the reality, this is a challenge. A quick thing, why we are here today, and I think I must very quickly talk about Schneider Electric of more than 26 billion euro turnover, 160,000 plus people, but what is there in center is the one which we need today, and that 5% of revenue is devoted to R&D. Because today we live in the world which cannot run without technology, and we need to be ahead of the curve, driving the thought leadership. 5% of revenue goes into R&D. So that's the most important thing which I would request you people to note. 4 market what we serve, and where we are serving 4 market, that market consumes 70% of world energy. And the 4 market what we are serving is the buildings, data center and network, industry, and infrastructure. Among these 4, 70% of energy consumption takes place, and we are addressing that. But at the same time, I think the revealing number is on the right-hand side. More than 82% opportunity in building and data center, 58% opportunity in industry, and 79% opportunity in infrastructure for energy efficiency. It means this is an untapped opportunity. There lies a challenge, and then there is an opportunity. So how are the things? I think it's known about mobility, which is driving today a lot of our decisions. We had computers which are taking decisions, providing us input, intellectual input. Now it's on the go. It's the mobility which is helping us, replacing the desktop, replacing the computers. It's about cloud, so that we leverage this data from wherever we are. Sensor, the form factor has changed. Without sensor, IoT is not a reality. But the evolution which has happened, the form factor of sensor have changed, the intelligence built into sensor have changed. We have analytics helping us to take some actions, intelligent actions, and beyond this, we have security. So all put together, the last one, once again, is important, because when our life is being driven by IT and IT-enabled devices, and I really don't need to tell to these people who are so engaged with IT and facility that how important the security is there. So I think that's one of the most important things which we need to realize, and that should also be the focus when we are talking about making system more efficient, but this is critical and integral part of any IT system. Look at this curve. We talked about connected device, and we talked about connected people. So close to around 4 billion people which we expect would be connected, and then The one which is talking about connected device is what you see here. So imagine how many devices you can carry as an individual which is connected. 2 mobile phone, 3 mobile phone maximum, maybe 1 Fitbit kind of a gadget, 4. Someone has something else, iPad, 5. But here you can see 4 billion people and more than 50 billion connected devices. So what's happening? What's happening? And that's machine-to-machine discussion. What we see today, or what we realize today, what we use today as a connected device is just tip of the iceberg. What we don't see, what's working behind, are the connected devices we don't see on a shop floor, in your car, okay, in your kitchen, in the electric system what you use, and that's about the connected device. And that is something which is making IoT a reality. We are talking about Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 is cyber physical system which is going to revolutionize the industry. So we were talking about automation on a shop floor, right? And we are saying it's an intelligent shop floor. We are moving from automation on a shop floor, from intelligent shop floor to now a smart factory. And that's Industry 4.0 would make it possible. That's another revolution which is coming, and that can happen only because of IoT. So what's IoT? Internet of Things. What's it doing? It's getting us so much of a data, and of course it is helping us to derive something out of this data, right? What's the use of it data if we really cannot make any significant outcome and take some actions out of the data? So we have IT and OT convergence which has to happen. This is a formula which I would say it's a unique formula which you have to read from both the sides. And I want you to read from both the sides, and I'll help you to read, right? So we have an IoT, we have a lot of data, we cannot take any actionable item here if we really don't have a convergence of IT and OT. OT is operational technology. The convergence is calling us for effective use for automation. And that automation, we are thinking that how to make it more efficient. What is efficiency? Efficiency is doing more with less or doing more with the same thing, right? And that's something is about process, it's about efficiency, and that talks about optimization. So IoT, IT-OT convergence, we have to make it optimized. Now look at in a reverse direction. If we want to really optimize something, process automation in today's time, it cannot happen without IT and OT convergence. That has to happen. And IT and OT convergence is just a process. And if you want to make that process more efficient, more effective, we have to take advantage of IoT. That's where the data lies. That's the data what we get it. And that's the data which analyze, and it is helping us to really take some quick energy efficiency action. So IoT, IT-OT convergence, efficiency, optimization, both ways has to work, and I think this is one of the key formula which we have to understand. So life is on at Schneider Electric, wherever you are, for everyone, every moment, everywhere. That's the philosophy. Our solutions, our offer are here to help people to make what we call life is on. So from here, I'm going to be coming to a core of today's discussion, and that's EcoStruxure. The EcoStruxure is an architect to make things possible on optimization, on efficiency at Schneider Electric. And I would request you to see the 3 layers. The bottommost layer is about connected products. The second one is about edge control, and the top one is about apps, analytic, and server. And I would repeat again, connected devices helping us to generate the data, edge control is helping us to take some action, and apps, analytics are helping us go just beyond those actions, predictive analysis, smart decisions, on-the-go availability. That's the 3 layer, and we must have innovation at all these three levels, which we have been doing at Schneider Electric. And once again, we have to keep a pace with technology. We have to manage the technology disruption. Unless you have innovation at this three level, we can't really do something which is really a benefit to a society, benefit to the business. Now we have defined 6 architecture. We have defined 4 end market: industry, building, data center, and grid. And the 6 architecture is what we have put for each of this end market to serve, which is building, power, data center, machine, plant, and grid. Here is a practical example. Here is a practical example what you see as connected products. So these are the connected products. It is about electrical distribution, which is connected. It's about your air conditioning system, which is connected. It's about UPS in a data center, and this is a typical data center architecture I have put. It's about hyperpod. It's about energy storage. So all connected devices. At edge control, we have a role-specific software. You have a role-specific control. So when you look at a power structure to manage efficiency in building in your power distribution system through power structure. We have a data center operation to manage efficiently your data center. We have structureware to manage the overall efficiency in a data center. So this is at the edge control. And then we have apps analytics, which are providing us a lot of intelligence on the go, data center lifecycle service. So this is something which is very unique. And from Schneider Electric, this is something which is the only company which is offering end-to-end solution for a data center, a complete thing, complete stack, including the software and analytics. So EcoStruxure platform, 2 things on this. One thing which we believe in, interoperability and scalability. So every device, we are making a passive device in active device, including the last mile connectivity in your home, which is an electrical switchgear or an ELCB or MCB. A lot of people with whom we are working with industry-leading partner to develop EcoStruxure and solution. But before that, 4 important things. One is to connect from shop floor to top floor. Connecting devices, which is enabling us to realize efficiency. Collecting the data, analyzing it, and taking an actions. And that's a closed loop. Unless we get to this route, the efficiency and optimization will not really materialize. And this is something which EcoStruxure is helping us to do. All the big names in industry who are helping us as an alliance, we are working with. I think all of you know this name. I'm not going to be talking about it. These are all the platform partners. Very robust design, innovative design, and continuous evolution is what's happening here. Some of our customer in buildings, in industry, all the top names is what we have been working. They're using the benefit of EcoStruxure here. So we have a use cases, we have a real case, real benefit to customers through EcoStruxure which has happened. And then this is just a very quick statistics. 20 of the largest oil and gas companies which we are working with. You can read for yourself. 9 of the 10 largest mining, 11 of the top brands in food and beverages, 1 million buildings, big number, 1 million buildings, which we are helping for energy efficiency, 10 of the world's top electrical utility, 3 of the top web giants. All of them are getting a positive innovation impact from Schneider Electric. So that's about innovation at every level. That's helping us to help our customer for efficiency. That is helping us to help our customer to realize the benefit. Life is on. Thank you.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. That was very informative, and yes, I'm sure it's going to help us out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, moving on towards the next. Before we move on towards the next, very importantly, I'm sure everybody have received the feedback form at the welcome kit. Yes? Yes? No? Very good. Now, we have a contest running just for today. I would request all of you all to make sure you fill up the feedback form after the panel discussion. We will be collecting it back. We have volunteers around. They're going to take it back from you. So please make sure you fill the form completely. At the end of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to pick 2 lucky winners. And yes, of course, the lucky winners have some interesting thing to walk away with. So I would again request all of you all to please make sure you fill up the feedback forms completely, and we're going to connect after the panel discussion. Well, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on towards the next a very important session and discussion is going to be now. Driving transformation and efficiency in the world of energy management and automation. Ladies and gentlemen. I would again request all of you all to please make sure you fill the feedback form, and people who haven't received, you can please collect it from the registration desk. Anyone who didn't receive the feedback form? All right, cool. So we'll be collecting it after this panel discussion. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to start off with, let's put your hands together and please welcome moderator Ms. Hema Shah, Digital Transformation Agent Author. Let's give it up a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I also take the opportunity to call upon Able Korea CIO Arvind. A round of applause. Our next, Mr. Matthew Thomas, VP Data Center Practice Value Labs. A round of applause. We have next Mr. Shankar Rao Ji, Head CIO Bosch. We also have Mr. Vishwanathan Rajendra, Director MEP and Engineering Head Capgemini. The next, Mr. Venkataraman Swaminathan, Director Sales and IT Business, with a huge round of applause. And last but not the least, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jay Thomas, Head Service Delivery and Operations, was Innovation. Let's give it up a huge round of applause before they start off. And yes, it's going to be a very interesting session. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, am I audible? Can you hear me in the back? Yes. Brilliant. Thank you. So, I know Mr. Bakshi asked, but if you don't mind, I couldn't see real well. How many of you are in data centers? Okay, a couple, maybe 4. How many of you are in infrastructure management, remote or otherwise? Yeah, okay. How many of you are part of the business of digital transformation? Yeah, more hands going up. Okay, all right. So we've had 3 really interesting sessions so far. How many of you are feeling afraid? No one? I'm the only one feeling afraid? Wow, great crowd here. How many of you are excited? Not so many hands. There's a few more. How many of you are feeling nothing? All right. So, folks, I think this is, we are heading towards a very exciting and interesting time. And I think it's wonderful that Economic Times and Schneider have put together this opportunity for us to talk about it. As people in IT, as data center managers, as infrastructure managers, you get used to adapting. You get used to dealing with whatever comes your way. Certainly we do this more so in India than we do in other parts of the world. Is that true? I mean, are we good at adapting? Are we good at dealing with whatever comes our way? Yeah. So you'll see a little movement behind me. And what you'll see is some of my panelists leaving to take care of business and others arriving as they make their way through Bangalore traffic. And I will introduce you to them as we go along. There is one person I haven't had the time to meet yet. But we will introduce them. We've talked before. Before we get into the very exciting discussion that we have laid out for you today, I just want to talk a little bit about myself. I've been in the data center, infrastructure, management, IT business for over 25 years. Started a long time ago when the US did not have data centers that could stand up on their own. Believe it or not, they still have some of them. So it's not just in India that we had these data centers that were held together with safety pins. Started my career back with IBM 25 years ago, and I've had the pleasure of being part of this whole phenomenon that has seen IT permeate to every village, if you will, in India. There's some argument about whether it's permeated or not. We're certainly finding out in a really bad way with demonetization. But it has been a very interesting journey. And what makes it even more exciting is we haven't yet seen anything yet, right? Especially based on some of the numbers and statistics that we saw. So after spending 25 years at IBM, I had the opportunity to retire, and I thought this was the perfect time for me to start writing my books. And I wrote a book on how IT professionals can deal with the future, the uncertain future that we are about to embark on, or that several of us have already embarked on. My first version of the book, I shared it with some beta readers, and these were people who are very loyal to me, people who are afraid to say bad things to me. And they came back and said, how do I tell you this? No one's going to read this book. It's like, it's full of good advice. It's telling people what they need to do. No one's going to read this book. You need to tell a story. And so I wrote a story. And the story really is about how an organization starts out on its mission, not to renew its data center or save power or any of those things. It starts out on a mission to change its relationship with its clients and how it engages with them. And what are the various things they have to do to make that vision of theirs a reality. And guess who plays the most important role in that story? If you've been paying attention to Mr. Bakshi, if you've been paying attention to Mr. Pathak, you know the answer. Right? It's the guy that's running the data center. It's the guy that's collecting everything that's coming in and making it actually work and deliver what's expected. So that was more than what I intended to say about me, but the name of the book is Vital Upgrade, a little plug there. Let me move on to introducing my panelists. So we have a very diverse group of people here. We're fortunate enough to have Mr. Shankar, okay, thank you. Shankar, and he works with Bosch, so very much into, very close to the business.
Yeah, manufacturing.
And he will tell us more as we talk to him through the course of the evening. We have Al, I want to call you Abel Korea. Abel is part of the CIO office at Arvind, and he has made the switch that Mr. Bakshi recommended to strategy. And he gets to talk to the business about, you want to do what and when? So he'll be sharing some of those experiences with us. Vishwanathan works with Capgemini. He runs their practice for facilities and data management. So he gets to see clients who have all these ambitious plans, who've tried to do their own thing, and then realize they need professional help. And so we will be hearing his point of view on the challenges that the industry is facing and where they're going from there. And then we have from Schneider, the Director of Sales, Venkatraman. I've written all these names down, but I sometimes get a little tangled up. So thank you for helping me along. So he will help us with understanding some of the places where Schneider offers strategies and solutions to fix this, but also just what they're seeing in the marketplace. So with that, let's get started. We've heard enough. We've heard enough about the challenges. We've heard enough about there's going to be all kinds of things happening. We've got someone's phone ringing. Hopefully that's not a data center down. If you would, please, start off our discussion, right? In this huge world of digitization, we know there's challenges. We know it's difficult. We know that India presents its own unique issues and challenges. What are some of the strategies that you are recommending to your clients? What are some of the things that your clients are doing to help get a handle on the challenges, or as some people have referred to them, the opportunities that lie ahead of us?
Thank you. Good evening, friends. I am coming from the facilities infrastructure I would like to highlight the opportunities and the challenges on the facilities front of view. As you know, as Nikhil rightly said, energy is scarce. So we have to save the energy. It is not the question of saving the money, what is going to come out of energy, but we have to ensure that we develop a sustainability in consumption and sustainability in production of what the energy, what we use in our facilities, especially in our IT environment. So what we have done, in Capgemini, we handle almost 10 million square feet of campus facilities across India. And we had developed these facilities with LEED Platinum certification with an energy performance index of around 80. We strive to improve upon this figure, but over this journey, we have learned certain things which I would like to share with you. Today's world, we have a lot of technologically improved equipment which gives you a lot of saving in the energy. But have we utilized that properly in designing it so that it is not the question of saving money, it is what we are going to use, we are going to produce. So to arrest the leakages, we have developed some innovations in our campuses, like we have installed a variable frequency driven chiller, which is also connected to the data center. How? Especially in a data center, we are using a precision air conditioners to cool the data centers to maintain the healthy environment. But these chillers with a dual cooling circuit with the PACs, in the daytime when the facility is running for the comfort air conditioners, the chilled water is also used in the data centers, precision ACs, to cool the data centers, so that we save almost 50 to 60% of the energy in the cooling of data centers. And next, on the UPS front, on the energy which is directly going into the data centers. Conventionally, in the older days, we have used an UPS where we develop the redundancy in terms of N+1, the higher sizes of UPSs. Over the years, now this has become very inefficient. We have used UPSs with 10%, 20% loading, which is almost giving almost 80%, 85% efficiency. So we have gone ahead with modular UPSs, where we have retrofitted all our facilities with modular UPSs, where we can have a redundancy in terms of smaller modules, 25 kilowatt modules, 30 kilowatt modules. We need not have to develop the UPSs at front when the data center is developing for the full capacity of the data center, where we will be wasting all these energies. So we have developed the UPSs which is modular in nature, where we can expand the UPSs as and when required, and the redundancies are developed in terms of smaller modules, where the efficiency has gone from 80-85% to 96%, where we could save a lot of energy. So these are some of the innovative ways where we have taken to develop the energy performance index of our building close to 80. So when we do that, the sustainability in terms of energy consumption is developed, and sustainability in terms of energy production. So when we have campus facilities, so 30% of our energy which is being consumed within the campus is through sustainability in nature. By we have gone ahead with solar panels, where we get around 30% of the energy which is produced by the solar and used in our facilities. When we have equipment which can reduce the consumption, and this solar energy, when it complements the energy production, so that this 30% of the energy which is green and sustainable in nature, where we can still further improve the sustainability from 30%, and our target is to go carbon neutral. So these are some of the things which I would like to share.
Thank you. Thank you. So from what I heard, you've got a variety of solutions, a variety of fronts in which you're attacking this. You're plugging the data leakages, you're plugging the inefficiencies. Simultaneously, you're looking at new technologies that can improve your efficiency, as well as alternate sources of energy. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. Something you would like to add?
Yeah, I think if you look at the thread of what Ajay touched upon and what Vishwanath touched upon is, we started off with saying that be adaptive. Change is constant is what Nikhil is said. Design the data center for change, not for, the future. So if you look at all these things, it's what is good in terms of innovation is that let me bring in a little bit of lighter vein here. You always get always get confused between creativity and innovation. Creativity is getting a new idea or an original idea, but innovation is the effect of implementing it by taking that risk. Okay, you heard some of the points which Vishwa mentioned, that he has taken that risk and implemented, and that's where innovation is coming in. And if you look at what Nikhil spoke about, is that the innovation layers is what he spoke about. Now, bringing it into the context. You have an existing data center facility, since we discussed about data center, or you're setting up a new infrastructure based on the demand, the business demand which is coming up. In the existing one, you have made certain business assumptions and set it up. But again, Nikhil's point that design for change. So that's when I think Vishwa brought in the point very nicely, that he does not know how the business is going to be planned in the future, so he decided to go modular. Yeah, that's one way of going about it. But if you are able to predict the business increase, so you go partly modular and partly static. So there is no one, what I'm trying to say is, there's no one thing which is, the right way to go about. So to that extent, here again, the aspect of outsourcing is coming in. Yeah. So would you want to trust a partner and say that, put it together and make it viable for us? So, and that's the aspect of availability, and he said about it has to be efficient. So agility comes into picture. So, then obviously it all transforms into being cost effective, and therefore the total cost of ownership also comes into picture. So I'm saying that what industry is doing is, it's the run of the mill, get 5 quotations and do it from there. Many of the customer organizations are trusting partners who have the bandwidth, who have the capability to come and advise you on the infrastructure, whether it's the old infrastructure, how to make it more efficient and viable, or a new infrastructure when you have to plan and set it up for the change sort of a design. So that's what is my perspective.
Thank you. So I think the elements you added were introducing an element of modularity, consider outsourcing, as well as be really close to the business and understand what they need, which is a great segue to my partners on the right. One of the biggest challenges is getting good forecasts. In fact, if you could kind of tell us how you get in front of the business demand, right? And I'll start with you, and then we'll switch to. So go ahead. How do you do it at Arvind? How do you get ahead of the demand? Because that, quite honestly, is the biggest challenge the folks in the room face, right?
I think that's a good question. Being ahead of time, I think it requires a couple of thinking. One is, who's your customer? Who are you serving? Where are you serving? When are you serving? And I think this whole thing has brought a challenge today, because now the customer wants to deal with you anytime, anywhere, every time, not just deal with your front-end sales stuff, but wants to actually connect with the person who designs the product. And that's kind of co-creation of product, which is the new evolution that we're looking at. So we started off understanding who's my next customer in the next 15 years. And when we looked at it, we said, okay, it's the millennials. And that's a younger crowd, loves to touch on mobile, loves to order things on mobile, would order in the night, expect delivery in the morning. So when we looked at the entire landscape, what my consumer wants to do, we went down to the drawing board and saying, what is the outcome that we want? And frankly, any business enterprise, the outcome is very simple, that everybody is expecting, make money. Then we looked at what are the negatives that take us away from this outcome. Because if you focus on just the production unit of it and not really worry about the outcome side of it, you typically get so engaged with the cost-centric aspect, so engaged with the cost value aspect of it, instead of focusing on value creation. And Mr. Bakshi touched upon a couple of things. You can't build skill sets as an individual company. I think you need to go to a company which can be, where you can outsource. And I've been with the industry in retail for almost 22 years. I have quite a few friends in IT, and one of the biggest fear factor that I see with that group is control will go out of my hand. And my suggestion to them always would be, focus on outcome, don't worry about the means. And I think that's what each one of us need to look at, as to, if you have to stay ahead, focus on outcome, what your customer is expecting. And if I have to get that outcome, what's the journey that I need to travel? And to make that journey, if I need to have a data center which has modularity, which Mr. Bakshi also touched, that Paytm, classic case around, which is happening for all the retailers. And it's not just the Paytm which actually struggled, but even the EDC machines struggled. We almost had a dip of 20-30%, purely caused by the fact that EDC machines are struggling, credit card authorizations are not going through. Now, can someone visualize this? No. That thing is going to happen. Every day, every moment, things will challenge us as IT guys. And agility can only come when you go to data centers. Because now, frankly, when we looked at our own systems, our volumes during the Diwali times really peak up. We almost do 30% of our revenue just in those 5-6 days of Diwali. The peak is almost 50-70% up. To handle that peak, when we used to have our data center just across the building here, half the time systems would go down, half the time systems wouldn't work. Even though we had 4 backup lines for internet, things just didn't work for us. And that kind of costed us a lot. Now, if I go to my CFO and say, to your point, Mr. Bakshi, I'm going to save you so much. He's like not bothered, because that aspect of, but then if I go and tell him, sir, if you don't do this, per day 6 crore loss and 35 lakhs per hour loss, that fears him. Right? And that is where I said the outcome orientation. Who are you talking and what is the outcome you expect as head of IT? I expect my budgets to be approved, I expect my capacity, capital to be approved, and that can only come when we focus on outcome. Because when you focus on outcome, you're saying, sir, I cannot have an outcome where my customer goes from the store without buying anything. And if I have to make sure he's going to buy the merchandise that is in the store, then I need to make sure warehouse works, I need to make sure servers are up and running 24/7. And once that's how we went ahead designing our outcome-based stuff, and today we are doing good stuff on business.
So Abel, if I was to summarize what I heard you say, you said that outsource, focus, no, before that you said, understand the outcome that your business is seeking. And I think that's really the most important thing, right? But how does somebody working in the data center actually get to the place where they understand the outcome and perhaps you would touch on this, is how do they get to the point where they're having that conversation with the business? Because most of the time our conversation is, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened yesterday, I'm getting you the root cause analysis, right? And so how do you kind of get to a place where you're invited to the table to have this conversation with the business?
There are 2 challenges here. One, business thinks IT guy doesn't understand business. IT guy thinks it's your problem, not mine. And unless there's a bridge built by the organization structure, which kind of connects the guy who has to deliver this outcome.
Sorry, but I'm a poor IT guy. I don't control organization structure. So what am I to do?
You have to work with your boss to make sure that you're part of it. You have to work with your boss to be, and that is purely possible when you understand one dimension. Cost is always in control, sales is not. If you can understand what do we do to get sales to this company, your boss will listen to you. Because that's his KRA, that we need to get more sales every year. Year on year, 25% growth, not possible. How do I enable it? And when my conversation with my boss is very sales oriented, is very cost efficiency oriented, I'm sure everybody will listen to you.
Okay, thank you. Your view on this?
Yeah. First of all, good evening, friends, and I want to thank Schneider and Economic Times for having us here. When I looked at the topic, I think Bosch probably one of the reason I certainly wanted to come here was the topic innovation at every level kind of very well resonates with what we do in Bosch. I mean, just most of you know Bosch. We are one of the most innovative companies. We almost file 19 patents every single working day. So in a year, if you look at it, we are close to 4,000 to 5,000 patents in any given year. So, and right now what, I'm part of a team which is called as business transformation, which is more looking at in terms of what do we need to do, as part of within the IT and working closely with the business to see how IT, which is traditionally being perceived from the board and everybody else as a cost center, as always somebody in the, keep the lights on or back, as the back burner. How do we, the plumbers, right? How do we get them in front, right? So we are basically working on where the product IT, the engineering IT, and of course, where we all of us come from, the enterprise IT, how we can all come together and really make a difference in terms of what we sell, whether it's the product. I mean, we are basically a product, manufacturing company. So every product that, we are looking at, how do we bring in IT component to it? All of you know that, we manufacture power drills, which predominantly, used a lot in the Western countries. So we are really looking at bringing the IT part to it and see how, we can really, enhance the user experience. And coming back to, your question, there is a lot of work that we are doing, across all facets of IT. And I'm now more focused on the business process side of the house and also on the application layer. But my counterparts who are working on the infrastructure, we are certainly looking at what can be done. Like you rightly said, one area where we can definitely contribute is on reducing the cost. But at the same time, what we are more focused from in BOSH from the IT side of the house is how we can really contribute to the the revenue side of the house. What now with IoT and with BOSH. We ourselves manufacture the sensors. So how we can put in the sensors and the RFID technology and see how we can every product that we sell in the market how we can really enhance it, make it better, and IT also being seen as an equal partner to the business. So I mean that would be one of my recommendation for all of us to really look at and work very closely with the business and not just relegate ourselves to being the the folks who work day and night and just keep the lights on, but consciously figure out ways and means of being part of the business journey, being part of the the transformation that's going on. I mean, world is changing at a pace that is much faster than we can even imagine. I think he rightly touched upon it's being a connected industry. I mean, it's being a connected world, right? So many connected devices, so many connected people, and WhatsApp is a classic example. I know most of the millennials, whether it's WhatsApp, iChat, I mean, there are so many chats. My daughters, look at it. I mean, I don't even know what they work on. So it's a highly connected world, and in IT we have it's an exciting time. My thought is we're living in very exciting times, and there's a lot that we can contribute, not just from the cost savings or from the cost perspective, but also from looking at how do we make life interesting and challenging for us. That would be.
So thank you. Interesting perspectives from both of you, but I'm going to challenge them a little bit, right?
Sure.
Because all of you said outsourcing. I've been in outsourcing 25 years, and believe me, I'm a big fan of outsourcing. It's paid my bills, it's paid for my life, but apart from that, it has also allowed innovation at a great scale. It has allowed us to really move the infrastructure business forward in multiple ways. But if the future is about getting closer to the business, if the future is about being focused on the business outcome, and already IT is distant from the business, wouldn't outsourcing IT take it even further away? I mean, you're adding another layer in between. So how do you manage that? Sorry, out of syllabus question, but go ahead.
Yeah. So, a couple of reactions here. If you heard them pointing out, one is that what is measured is managed. I think that was one aspect which came out. See, the other aspect is that whether you are managing an existing infrastructure again or putting together a new infrastructure, this transformation is coming in. Most of the designations which we heard was all transformation. Now, here is where a partner like us, what we do is that, first understand the business objectives, and then the business strategy and the IT strategy and the facility strategy. If you carve out the IT strategy and the facility strategy and integrate it with the business strategy, that's when you have a robust overall infrastructure which supports your business in that context. And this is where companies like us can bring on the table a very effective method of getting all of them together. And in the audience, there's one gentleman who's sitting in who did it perfectly well. And today he boasts of a few $1 million of savings for his organization by doing consolidation. I'm sure Vasudev is around, and maybe he can be spokesperson on that. So this is exactly what they did. He raised his hand. So maybe at the end of it, you could give him an opportunity as to how practically they went about it. My co-panelist here is sitting down. Here is where, you talked about modularity. This modularity did not come because he said, this feature is available in the market. What he did was that when he discusses with his partners, he constantly understood that his business can suddenly ramp up. As he said, on website is completely choked during Diwali, or the transactions are very high during Diwali, as much as it can go as low. So the modularity comes in because the modules can kick in, and you also heard that 86 to 96% efficiency. So you do more with less. So, and the most important aspect he mentioned was leakage is averted. So now so in summary, you have a business strategy wherein you have to deploy an IT and facility strategy, where, as they both pointed out, that you have to work together in coherence. And that's where, maybe if you don't want to do it yourself, partners like us can come in and get you on the table and scare you and actually bring out the best out of the discussion. This is one point of it. And then we said that to incorporate avoid the leakage and build in the efficiencies right at day one, you talk about the transformational aspects which you can bring in. Technology will help us. But I think first we have to get the mindset in place and then add technology on top of it and make it a viable proposition. That's my view on it.
Thank you. So collaboration, alignment with business strategy, attitude, teamwork.
Yeah.
Okay, and then skills and technology. How are we doing for time?
So we have 16 minutes left.
16 minutes?
All right. That's.
Thank you. I was like, he's sitting there, he's got to know.
Yeah, you have to measure to
Touche. So, are there any questions in the audience, from the audience? If there isn't, then I would like Mr. Vasudevan to take a couple of minutes to share his experience with us. I think that would be most useful. Yes, thank you for coming out of the glare of the lights for me.
Could you come over so that everybody can see you?
That's a good idea.
Hello? I'm audible, correct? So maybe I'll take a back.
There was a chair.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Good evening, everybody. See, I think you did mention about some of the transformation work we have done. It's for the Cognizant. So, and in the opening note, Mr. Bakshi also said we have to be near business and we think strategy. Exactly we did. But thinking of on the strategy may not come at the day one. We should be really aligned.
So you were an outsourcer already, right? Or was this for Cognizant, the company, for your data?
Yeah.
Okay, this was for yourself.
Yeah, Cognizant, okay. Yes.
So it wasn't as
services for most of our companies, I think.
But this was for yourself. This was for your company.
This is for ourselves, right, and this will take it maybe to the customer as a case study.
Okay.
So coming back to this, yes, it did not start maybe at the day one. I think most of us will agree across industry, across companies, wherever you go, you set up, as you set up a floor, you'll also set up maybe hub room, server room, then you put up some data center, then go ahead and put, it will become a silos. And that is a challenge for us. It was there for us. And maybe many of our peers, including HPs, and today it could be even for some extent, maybe for the larger cloud companies as well. So going forward, it will be too much a challenge for you to manage and also plug all those security incidents or managing that and having a skill set spread across. So you will have to definitely maybe consolidate. So we started maybe at the smaller pace. We did some small, say, kind of POC. And way back in maybe 2011 or Much earlier than that, we went modular. Then we went for a consolidation. Then we set up a data center, now 2 in India and 2 in rest of the world, from 35 to 4. And the total investment could be huge, but you have to definitely, maybe we took also maybe services from Schneider. We have to do a complete assessment whether I can convert my data center into tier 3. It is like what our AVP puts it, head of our business, who puts it where our train is going at the speed of say 200 miles per hour. Without impacting our business, we had to change the wheels, and we did it. We exactly did it with the help of Schneider, and today I think we are cloud-ready data center. Everything I cannot put into cloud, but what I want on demand, I can push it to cloud. What is required to be retained in-house with the cloud level of service. Where in the cloud, why you go for cloud? One is cost, he did mention. Second one is agility, on demand. When you want, you will put it, correct? So that if you service you give for your customer in-house, they will be with you. Otherwise, they will be ready to go to cloud. So we have did that for our in-house requirement, as well as we made ourselves ready to go to cloud. That's what I want to share, and thanks Schneider also for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Yeah, hi, this is Anand. I have a question to more or less all panelists here. How do you see the ways are going to, the vision in terms of co-hosting or co-location versus a cloud operator? Today we're talking of data center.
So shared versus private.
Is it that in future we'll have more of cloud operators who will use a very redundant infrastructure like that, what we're talking about, and then that becomes irrelevant because we're talking of KPIs and SLAs, vis-a-vis the operator or the location provider, service providers like Schneider. What role will this merge? What is the vision in terms of future?
So if I was to if I may take your question and ask it a little differently, what you're saying is, what is the direction that we're seeing with respect to companies favoring managed data centers versus going to an independent cloud services provider like an Amazon or a Google? Yeah? Okay. Which one of you wants to take this?
Okay, I'll take it. I mean, there is obviously advantages, both with going with a cloud operator versus with I would call it as a co-hosting. In my earlier company in Saskin, where I was the CIO, we tried that out. There is always a little comfort level more with the co-hosting rather than with the cloud. Because some of the production mission critical application, especially if you are dealing with more of IP related work within your business, is always little hesitant to move everything into cloud. And so far, even within Bosch, we have even though we are using cloud more from AWS, it is more of a virtual private cloud is what we are really using it. It's not really public cloud in the sense that you would go ahead and put your production systems on a public cloud and have access to that. So I would still see going forward obviously in the mid to long term, cloud is the way most of the organizations would go for the obvious benefits, especially from the cost, maintenance, agility, and ability to dynamically allocate and deallocate resources. Yeah, that would be mine.
Just to add to his point, in terms of initially, I think India has been averse to going outsourcing but the first year factor, what happens to my data? I think we've gone above that step, and people will move into cloud, no doubt about it, because of various reasons. I think people are able to realize the benefits of it.
Yeah.
I think the most matured state is where I am not only hosting my software on a cloud, but I want a certain level of consultants to even tell me how my supply chain is performing, which is managed services at a business level. I think that would be the most mature state. I still feel the skill sets available in the country are not there to such an extent, but I come from a company earlier, before Arvind, which is JDS Software. We used to run the supply chain of Nokia. When I say run, We used to even tell them, you need to order these goods and this is where your network is struggling. Now that I feel is the most mature state of being party to a customer. Means Nokia would tell us, you tell me what I should buy and what I should not buy. I think that is the most mature state where these services will land up. The challenge for this country is, are we creating MBAs who understand this, or we are creating MBAs who just know how to Google?
So that's an interesting point that you make. Because, so the first one was, where we want to evolve in terms of a managed services offering. And then you alluded to this problem being something localized to this country. It is not. It is something that people struggle with globally. We had a managed services offering. We had a hosting offering, I want to say about 15 to 18 years ago. And we also had a shared services offering where people could buy services by the drink. And we encountered huge amounts of resistance, primarily from the usual suspects, which is the fear of data loss, which is the fear of unknown or lack of control over security, as well as some mundane things like you have established partnerships with different companies. You have contracts with different companies. They're not exactly quid pro quo, but it is that I will buy networking services from you, and I know, therefore, that I will give you a different kind of arrangement on your data center services, right? So a lot of these contractual agreements, even if they're not agreements, relationships, get in the way of making some of the harder decisions. By far, the hardest decision we saw was getting the business applications ready to move into that space. Because business applications, if you're scared about how business applications are being written today, they were even worse 20 years ago. And the software that was used to develop them, the compilers, the bugs, nobody knows where the skeletons are buried, and you suddenly face one when you open a door. And so it is the migration of the applications that is posing the biggest challenge, and the desire for every business unit to want to do things their way. So I think that the value proposition of the cloud is very clear. There is absolutely no doubt about it, both in terms of cost, but even more so in terms of the ability to quickly provision and decommission, as well as to just effectively manage the environment. So the value proposition is very strong. The migration path is very difficult. Everybody agrees to it in concept. When it comes to yours, it's like, not yet. Let him go first. That's been my experience. Any different things to share here, or
yep.
more or less? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So from a OEM perspective, we are between best of the both worlds. Colo is really proliferating because the outsourcing model is kicking in. Of course, companies like theirs, Capgemini, they will have to conditionally have in-house data centers. Maybe they can adopt to cloud for the surplus requirements, but so we see a proliferation of data centers, captive data centers, as well as colo and cloud-based data centers, and because the enormity of data calls for so much of requirement that the demand is huge on both the sides. I would put it that way.
Just one small tiny addendum to my question is, what do you see the future of this geographical boundaries being set? Like most nations do not allow the business data to be hosted in other countries. So how do you think this will be overcome, or this boundary will continue to remain?
Anybody have a crystal ball here?
Take it.
Don't have a political crystal ball.
You're right. If Make in India comes into picture, make it in India. That's the way to go.
And the United States is never going to let certain kinds of data leave the country. The United Kingdom will never.
In fact, in the last panel, you would be surprised. Somebody said that I don't want to buy candles for Diwali from China.
Oh, we're not surprised.
Yeah, so if that be the patriotism. So everything is available in India. Do it in India is the way to go.
Yes, please.
This is Raghu Radhakrishnan from Managing Director Tmaxsoft. And I just wanted to give my view. I heard Bakshi was talking about power consumption, power going to be because of the huge big data centers. But my view is slightly different. The big data centers currently today, which is consuming huge amount of power, is going to shrink in terms of the expensive hardware currently being deployed on the big machines. Over a period of time, the big machines have been scaling down, and entire cloud technology will be moving on to inexpensive x86 hardware, which will be less power consumption, and more things will be driven out of software-defined architecture. And the power consumption, whether the storage, network, everything will be defined around the software. Whether it's OS or the storage or network, or everything will be around the virtualized mode on the software-defined architecture. So power consumption slowly will not be a key factor in the coming world. Second aspect of the cloud technology, as people were talking about the Googles and the Amazons of the world, what will happen, my view is, in the next possibly year or two, what Google did for Android, where Android was available to all the OEMs to adopt and then make it so cheaper, where Apple did, iOS was available only on Apple. There will be a software provider who will provide the cloud technology, which is IaaS and PaaS, which is a software-defined network, will be available to all the service providers, so that the cloud becomes cheaper and those service providers can in turn compete with Google and Amazon. That will be the future. That's what my view is all about.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments? Yes, please.
Hello, yeah, this is Matthew. I have a question to the panel about data security, because right now people are concerned of moving to the cloud because of data security. Now, one side we are saying outsource the data center. So how is this balance taken care of? Because
so your question is, or your implication is that security is incompatible with cloud and outsourcing. Is that your proposition? Yeah?
One side we are outsourcing the data center. The other side, we are always concerned of data security. Like, how do you handle these two?
I think it's a function of evolving. It's a fear factor which has been there for the last 10, 15 years, but I am seeing, based on some of my interactions with the other IT heads within retail, it will evolve. And initially, even we were worried what happens to my transaction system, because for retail business, if my cost and my vendor name is out, I am done, right? Now you work with your partner where you set your outcome saying, this is the level of security I expect, and then make sure that there are audits, which is measure to manage, and make sure those audits are covering you in terms of making sure there are no leakages and so on, right? Recently, a friend of mine had a trouble where his bank account balances were known. And he went to the bank and the bank said, sorry, there is nothing. What was happening is that his wife would go to the bank, and she's a privileged account holder, and she would say, I'm placing 5 lakhs balance with you. Can I just know what's the balance in my husband's account? And the guy would do it out of customer service. Now, no way you could have figured out an employee of one of the banks logs into the system and just tells her the balance. Right? Now, what can you do about this? Yes.
So
you have to be careful.
As speaking from the outsourcer's point of view, I have a completely different opinion, right? I think that an outsourcer makes it their business to ensure that security is in place. Their reputation is at stake. Their right to remain in business is at stake if they play fast and loose with security. So I know that security was our primary objective at IBM. Even if the client didn't care about it, we would have our audits run on the client's account and go back and tell them, you need to fix this. Please note, we have told you here are your exposures. If you don't fix them, these are the risks you stand. Please acknowledge you have read this, right? So an outsourcer is more professionally able to address security challenges, which you as an individual may not have time to get through. They see a larger number of issues and are better able to deal with it. So I'm seeing...
Most of the time is internal rather than external.
Yes, yes.
And
I do remember one of the retail companies where we were working, and the boss was very conscious of sales figures not going out. And we were having chart outside this office, just 2 blocks away. And suddenly I find that the chart actually had the sales figures, margins figures. And I asked him, "Ye kahan se mila paper?" So he says, "No, that office there, they keep giving us wasted printouts to us." Now that becomes a challenge, right? So unless you have the organization sensitized right from top to bottom, it's difficult to do that security part. And like she said, start with the trust, make sure the enough audits are there, and no vendor would like to risk their business, right? So make sure, it's not we are saying, let's go only with what the vendor is saying. You can also define your terms, you can also define the number of frequency of audits and the type of audits.
And anyway, your legal will also have some ironclad contracts to ensure that your data is fine.
So we're 2 minutes over time. If there's anybody who's got something pressing to say, now's our moment. Otherwise, I think they're coming to clear the chairs from the stage. So thank you for being a great audience. Appreciate your time.
Sure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for all the gentlemen who are around. And yes, now I would invite Ms. Archana Naidu to please come up on stage and appreciate them with token of appreciation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up a round of applause. Louder. For being the lovely participation from the audience as well. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up once again. Oh yeah, with a big smile. All right, thank you so much. I request everybody to please walk down and settle down. Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure the forms have been filled now. Yes? Now I would request our volunteers to please collect back the form from the audience. I would request a hostess to please collect back the forms from them. Now I would request a hostess to please collect back the form from the audience. The feedback forms, which is very important to know what you feel about this particular evening. And yes, of course, after this session, we're going to pick 2 lucky winners. Well, ladies and gentlemen, moving on towards the next session now. Well, we are going to have the next session on transformation in the world of IoT, digitization, automation, and infrastructure optimization. So, ladies and gentlemen, with a huge round of applause, let's welcome Mr. Aniket Patange, Director, Data Center Lifecycle, Schneider Electric, for the next session. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up, guys. Come on, let's clap louder for Mr. Aniket.
Good evening, and thanks to Ajay. Ajay mentioned in the beginning that data centers are going to stay for next 20 years. That's some very enlightening news. So while the new data centers are getting built, the legacy infrastructure also will stay. So I mean to say that all of you sitting here belonging to IT, facilities, business side, will have a challenge to fulfill. The KPIs are changing. The KPIs are no more in terms of working on a cost center, which is the critical infrastructure, but we need to all enhance the performance of our critical infrastructure. So we need to find out all the risk pertaining to availability of the infrastructure. We have to reduce the cost of operations, and we have to increase the length and span of these critical infrastructures. So with that, what we live in, we believe that at an enterprise level, we need to have some kind of an innovation. We need to have the best practices around, and what will deliver then is enhancements of efficiencies. So welcome to the world of connected devices. We are all smart people here having smartphones. Our efficiencies are in terms of how we manage things personally, but on a professional front, we deal with a lot of machines. And at operational levels, we deal with UPS, we deal with pack machines, and many more. But then have you ever imagined that, what would be, usefulness of that connectivity of all these devices if it is given to you. What is it that you can best make use of that? So while we look at the world, there are 30 billion connected devices in and around us, and I'm actually a very conservative number giving you that actually. So look at the people connected, 4 billion. 4 billion smart people on this planet, and yet 30 billion of them waiting to become more smart, and all that information what you're going to have is going to make you more smarter. What is it that Schneider Electric level what we are doing? We are looking at transformation, we are looking at in fact enhancing your energy efficiencies. So if I had to actually take a goal, look at what is written in the middle of this slide. Enhancements up to around 30% of energy efficiencies. We are looking at lowering the operation cost by 10%. We are looking at increasing the lifespan of the critical infrastructure by, let's say, another 3 years. And all of this at a payback of less than 2 years. Is it possible? First question, because all of you belong from esteemed enterprises handling complexities, and while you're sitting here, somewhere in the back of your mind, you're worried about your critical infrastructure which is working somewhere else, and you have delegated that jobs. You're looking at always your mobile phones and messages so that you're abreast of what is happening in your infrastructure. So is this a reality? Can we do it? Any show of hands? And in fact, my job was made easy by Vasudev Prabhu, wherever he is. This is one company, this is one enterprise which actually took this goal. And it was an ambition which they wanted to fulfill, but a challenge for us as partners. Because we believe that, this is something which we can do as an integrated service and solution provider. We moved away from that product image, and this is what we accomplished. Now, this was a transformation journey. We actually set out a map for next 15 months, ever since the engagement with customers like Cognizant. The important thing was to know the current state. The current state was highly, look at possibly single point of failures affecting the availability of this critical infrastructure. Look at the current operational practices, look at the complexities, look at what are the efficiencies they have, what are the PUEs of these infrastructures, look at what is the consumption, what is the optimization available possibilities across the infrastructure. Having studied that, also, call upon both the IT and the facilities in one room, look at the business strategies, look at whether we should have a captive data center or should we migrate to a colo player. So look out, for all these important triggers and come back with a gap analysis. So we would actually do an assessment of your critical infrastructure, come back with gap analysis, a complete migration plan, and then what is the result? We are looking at results of completely optimized infrastructure in terms of power, cooling and space. Now, a lot of deliberations on what should be the infrastructure. In my experience actually, most of the data centers are only 15% occupied. That means 85% of it is idle. And Nikhil talked about 82% inefficiencies to be solved in this critical infrastructures. So that is what we look at, optimize the infrastructure from power, cooling, and of course the space perspective, the white space perspective. We are looking at automating this infrastructure so that, as Venkat said, anything what you want to manage should be measured. So we automate that in terms of measurements. We will look at, getting on to predictability. We talked about what is the next level of maintenance. Is it preventive? Is it prevention better than cure? But if you are able to predict the failure of equipments, that is what we look at. So we'll enhance the operation complexity so that, we reduce the instances of failures and also able to predict that failure. So at an enterprise level, what would we create? We in fact created a dashboard which actually looks at real-time monitoring of your physical assets, physical infrastructure assets from both data centers and critical facilities. And we have set up a services bureau in Bangalore. Currently, as I speak, there are more than 7,500 devices which are across APJ connected on a real-time basis to the services bureau. We have a team of analysts. We have a team of analysts which actually looks at the critical performance of these assets. And based on the inputs or the trends which we monitor over a period of time, are able to actually convey to our customers that the possibility of a failure going to happen. Manage that incident with by deputing a service engineer with the required space. And we run multi-year contracts. So at an enterprise level, we are able to create this dashboard so that you can visualize the performance of your assets. The next level is basically to simulate certain conditions through the softwares what we have, and actually able to see what is the impact of these simulations, or rather what is the best possible operation possible with the simulations available to us. So the kind of softwares, the kind of real-time monitoring, and the power of analytics is what we have been able to bring up in terms of our delivery. This is a customer case, and this is as large as, I'm talking about some 2 or 3 customers on an enterprise level that we have worked in IT, ITS, in banking and finance sector, in telecom sector. And this is the proof of what you all heard for last 1.5 hours in terms of the talks beginning with Ajay Bakshi, followed by Nikhil, and then the panel discussions here. We have been able to, in fact, enhance the operational efficiencies of this enterprise by almost around 30%, reduce the operation cost by around 10%, increase the lifespan of these data centers by 3 years, and all of this at a payback of less than 2 years. Right? So I have something very important, for our partners and users. We in fact want to help you with taking you to the next level of efficiencies. Whatever you have achieved, probably you would have reached the ceiling, but we'll pull you up from there. We'll help you enhance the efficiencies beyond that. We will give you inputs in terms of actionable intelligence and empower you with making better decisions based on the data what we have. And through various solutions, products, solutions, and then services. There are 3 key questions which I would like all of you to take, today being Friday. Thanks God it is Friday, but you can have wonderful drinks followed by dinner. But when you reach your offices on Monday, these are the 3 questions you must ask yourself and also your team members. Is your data center ready to support the business growth? Can you evaluate the performance and can you optimize your infrastructure across its entire life cycle? And can you get your businesses the key advantage, competitive edge through greater agility, lowered cost, and at the same time reduce risk? If you have answers, well, that's good. If you do not have answers, we are there to help you. We are your partners in business. We have done this successfully with many enterprises. We would like to give you that advantage and work with you to achieve your goals. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, time to pick up the draw of the evening. And yes, let's see who's going to be the lucky one who's going to pick the draw. Before we go ahead, ladies and gentlemen, who is with the more experience, the maximum experience here in the industry? Somebody with 15 years? Please take your hand up, guys. Somebody with 15 years. Good enough. I think we should appreciate them with a round of applause. All right. Someone with 20 years of experience. Please take your hand up. 20 years? How many of you? Please take. Now, this means no. And this means not sure. If you take complete up, that means you're confident. Yes. Who's with 20 years? All right, you. Please, gentlemen, come up. Please come up. You're going to be the lucky one to pick another lucky person. Please come up. Well, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure. His name is anywhere there, so I'm not sure. His name is already there. Gentlemen, please come up. Please come up on stage. Yeah. So what's your name? Please introduce something about you.
I'm Matthew. I'm currently a CTO of Carrot Services. I was with Intel and Infineon before this engagement, and I'm happy to be here. Welcome here. Yeah.
Gentlemen, hold on. Now, can we get the forms, please? So are we all ready, ladies and gentlemen? Yes or no? All right. So you're going to pick randomly just one. Hope it's not your name. And you're going to announce the name.
This is Sanjit. An organization is Decision. What was it?
All right. The winner is Srijit. Srijit, and the last 3-digit mobile number is 857. Are you the one? Oh my God! Congratulations. Please come forward. Please come forward. And gentlemen, we're happy to have you here today. Please hand over the gift to the winner. Let's give it up, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations. Thank you so much for joining in. All right, so all celebrities here today. Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, the gentleman or the lady with the more experience than 20, more than 20. Anybody with more, yes, how many years, sir? 25. 24, yes. 34. Oh my God, why didn't you come before? 24. Okay, 24, 24, 25. Anyone with more than 25, guys? Okay. So I would invite you, gentlemen, to please come on stage with 25 years of amazing experience. Well, and please introduce yourself, sir.
Okay, my name is Anand. I work for Gurgaon. I had the IT there. And prior to this, I was working for Henkel. So 10, 15 years there. And then before that, 8 years in Buildmet. So that's my career plan.
It's a great journey. 25 years. Now you're going to pick one lucky winner. Somebody who's lucky like you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. And the winner is Sagar S. Sagar S, and the last 3-digit mobile number is 143. Who's the one? Sagar, can we have you here, please? Sagar is still wondering, am I the winner? Please come up, Sagar. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Sagar and congratulations. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a great time. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on towards the next session of the evening. And yes, the next one is going to be, again, a very interesting one, who's going to spark you up. Ladies and gentlemen, the next session is going to be by Mr. Yes, any idea, audience? Absolutely correct. The next one is going to be Mr. Manish Gokhale. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a huge round of applause. Manish Gokhale, General Manager of Business Development, 3-phase critical power at Schneider Electric for the next.
Thank you for taking my name. I thought I would be standing there. No one would actually call me there. But when this slot was being allocated to me, and I was also sitting at the back side with lots of smell of nice food coming from the canteen there. So I was thinking that yes, too many people are going to curse me as having taken so much amount of time there. So I'm not going to. I was supposed to discuss 15 new innovations with you. But yes, considering all this, I'm now going to talk only about top 3. So that's something. You can thank me for that. Yeah. So let's look at the first innovation, 4 steps to reliability. And I'm going to talk primarily about the power. I know we have discussed and debated about the importance of power and consumption of power, whether it is important or not. But there is no lying to the fact that for all the modern IT infrastructure, power is the backbone. And that is the reason why I'm going to talk only about the power and the 3 innovations in this particular area. First and foremost, even before I start going towards that, we discuss about stress. It's just coincidental that the first speaker spoke about stress and I had some slide on stress. Just to take you through that, 66% of all doctor visits happens today because of stress. And we know now, at least I know now, and I appreciate the amount of stress an IT manager is going to take. Thanks to Mr. Bakshi taking me through the journey of the stress, what can come upon that. There are 50% people who categorize the stress level from moderate to high. Now, why am I talking about stress? I told you that I'm going to talk to you about UPS systems, but I'm coming here and talking about stress. Stress has become such an important part and parcel of our life that famous comic strip, Dilbert, always runs something or the other on running on the stress. Now, this gentleman wanted to take a medical leave to deal with job stress. And his boss asked, what is the purpose? What part of your job that is causing the stress? And he comes back and said, it's the work which is causing me the stress. Now, what I'm trying to bring up here is stress is something which is hampers the way we work. But let's look at another aspect of the stress. Do machines and equipment also face stress? What is the impact of stress on the equipments, and this is what is the thing which I'm going to talk about. Most of the existing installed UPS today operates with something called as this technology. Now, technically we call it a 2-level, but just to demonstrate, I saw everyone climbing this particular area. Some of them climbed here like this. Now, if this was slightly more higher, right, it builds up more stress on your legs, right? Now, what happens? What happens physically? The one thing which happens is it stresses you a lot. It pulls up lots of pressure on your legs. But similarly, when you take 2 such particular steps here in a UPS system, what happens is the switching losses becomes the highest. Okay, that's something which builds up tremendous amount of stress. And because of that particular thing, the stress on the components increase by multiple amount. When that happens, the reliability of the components starts getting affected. And that is the reason, when you have a sudden peak demand, we discussed about Diwali time, sudden peak demand of load on your IT machines, and that day, the equipment which is already stressed fails. So that is one thing which happens. This is something most of the existing installed UPS systems, any one of you are using, irrespective of the brands, are facing that. What they are facing is tremendous amount of stress on their components. In our R&D, we started working about this, how to look at these particular problems. Another very innovative solution which we bought into was called as a 4-level inverter design. Very simple. This is what we introduced. To be simply, we introduced 2 more steps so that I can climb on this particular thing in a much more easier manner, so that there is absolutely no stress on me. Now I am talking this as a human being, but this is exactly same what happens on a switching device inside a UPS systems. What we introduce are multiple steps, so we expose them for very low voltages all across, and thereby bringing down the stress levels on those 4 components, and thereby increasing the reliability of this. To such an extent that switching losses of these are 1/3 that of the existing UPS system what we are using. So that is the most significant thing. But you may ask, that's very good to hear. What is in it for me? How does it benefits me? I'll take you through that. But before that, this is something which is innovation. We took multiple amounts of patents on this particular technology. This is the first time in the world all across. These are patents, these are patent numbers, and it's an open information available. The new series of products what we are introducing in the market comes with this particular technology. What are the benefits? First and foremost benefit is your equipment will not fail when you need it the most. It brings in a high amount of reliability. By reducing switching losses which are discussed, by reducing voltage stress across devices, but most importantly, it eliminates all voltage rated IGBT stress at all. It means your equipment will never fail because of voltage related stress at all. That's something about a tremendous innovation what this particular thing is able to bring in. It reduces filtering requirements, so you have less noisy equipments, you can keep it next to it. It generates less amount of heat and so on and so forth. But it also lowers the operating cost. Of course, there are efficiency gains, but apart from that, it can operate on voltage windows from 250 volt to 600 volts. This is the widest ever voltage window. What it means is you use less amount of batteries, your equipment is much more reliable. Second thing, it comes with 10 years capacitor life. People who are in operations would realize that one of the major costs which brings up in the equipment is the capacitor life. So it eliminates the need of replacement of the capacitor altogether. Let's look at the second improvement, second innovation. Compromise on efficiency without compromise. Now, these are the technology of the UPS systems, double conversion it is known for by the technical jargons altogether. Now, what it does, it provides full protection to your loads. It also provides full protection to your source at all. So it provides very high level of protections to your load. But if I look at the efficiency portion of this, because it is to do this protection, it consumes lots of energy by itself. And typical efficiency levels are very low side. We discussed, someone was sharing 80%, 85% efficiency levels, means 15-20% losses all across. So very low efficiencies which are coming up because of this. But there are the alternative technologies available. The 4-level one which I discussed increases this efficiency from 80-85 to 90-95%. That is a thing type of technology which is being coming up. But if you see, there is other mode which is available. There are technology which are available which can give you tremendously high efficiency. very high efficiency for your equipment, so that there are extremely low losses. But if you see that, those technologies provide very low type of protection, because in this particular site we directly feed the source loads with raw power. That is typically what is known as the eco mode or economy modes, which are typically used all across. You feed your loads directly from the raw power, thereby there is absolutely no protection of your loads, but it does it at a very high efficiency level. Now what if it's possible that if we are able to get the best of both things? But before even doing this, why is it that the double conversion technology is the most prevalent technology or most popular technology today, in spite of being less efficient? The main reason is the people who are going to use the UPS system, they would necessarily require full protection for their loads. And that is the reason, in spite of lower efficiency, the double conversion is much more popular technology. Eco mode is mainly used for non-critical application, not for my servers or ITs and other things. Maybe for lighting, emergency lighting systems, I may possibly use that particular technology. Now imagine if these particular things, double conversion, eco mode, are being used all across. But what does the standard say about all this? In double conversion gives you 100% protection, which I discussed. It gives you no break during power failure. We are all aware about that. That's the reason why we use UPS systems. What it gives you in the end is class 1 protection. Class 1 protection means you can close your eyes and put your critical IT loads on these particular type of configuration. Whereas in eco mode, it gives you class 3 protection. It means you cannot put your critical IT equipments on that particular type of loads. What we are doing is, we are trying to bring up a technology which can bring up the best of both the worlds. Let's see what exactly it is. So we are introducing e-conversion. Now it gives you high level of protection, as in the case of double conversion. So it can be used for critical loads. It gives you clean power all the time, so that it gives you full protection altogether. But at the same time, it also maintains the efficiency levels at an extremely high level. So it is able to give you benefits of double conversion, which is full protection, as well as benefit of an eco mode, which is high efficiency or lower losses altogether. So it saves on your operational cost, but more importantly, because I was hearing from the beginning of the session that operational cost may not be the most important thing, right? Now, what it says is it will give you 10% extra power in the same transformer size which is available. It means you have a building today, you can use more amount of your IT racks so that you can generate more revenue tomorrow. So if you have a floor and you want to use 10 extra rack, you don't need to install anything extra on the electrical side. You can increase your revenue by that particular method. This is what is the e-conversion benefits, what it brings into, and it is certified as class 1 performance. It means you can use your critical IT equipments on e-conversion systems. Let's look at quickly. Of course, higher efficiency up to 99% means losses of only 1% is possible. High protection, so we have power factor correction, harmonics correction, no break transfer, and class 1 performance, which is available through this. Again, coming back, what is in it for me? Why should I do all these things? So I just quickly did a small comparison. This is a 1 megawatt facility, and these are the losses per annum, close to 97 lakhs per annum on a 1 megawatt system, if you are using conventional UPS system, and you can bring it down to 13 lakhs of the losses by using e-conversion technology. So that is a tremendous amount of change which an e-conversion technology can bring into while using that. But remember this, it's not about power savings or savings because of this. It is about additional 10% power available, so that you can deploy more amount of IT racks in the same amount of power. So that is something, and which impact is tremendously high as compared to savings in the power. Lastly, reliability and long life. I just want to take you very fast on one particular last point, is the close to 70% of all problems today are related to energy storage, and it does not support when it is most needed. We have looked at various technologies, and we have come up with this particular technology with the best possible TCO, and this is the lithium-ion batteries. First time in the world, now you are able to see a solution which can incorporate a lithium-ion battery solution for a mega data centers. large capacity UPS systems. Why are we doing this? Quickly, it's most relevant, but more importantly, it reduces footprint. Again, less amount of space required for your infrastructure so that you can deploy more amount of your IT racks. That is what is the benefit here. It improves lifetime. I will share with you what lifetime it gives you. It improves backup predictability and engageability. It reduces cooling constraints. You don't have to invest so much amount of cooling to cool the batteries altogether. It reduces weight. It means you can put the batteries now on 10th floor if it is required because less amount of load loading is required. And it of course reduces TCO. Quickly give you, this is an example which will show you that on the first side we have an existing battery room which requires 50 square meter of space for providing a backup. When it was replaced with lithium ion batteries, it takes only 17 square meter of space. So it means space reduction by close to 78% altogether. Now this is, imagine this is the amount of space which is now available for you while planning so that you can deploy more IT resources, deploy more revenue generating activities here. It also takes tremendously less amount of space here. To summarize, what are the benefits today for lithium ion? These are the benefits for lithium ion. Up to 10 times more number of cycles, up to 3 times expected life. So today if your batteries are replacing every 3 years, with lithium ion you can think about replacing after 12 years or 15 years, or practically saying you will never replace the batteries and once you start using a lithium ion technology. 67% less weight, 2 to 3 times expected life. Cost, initial capex if I look at, currently it is slightly higher, right? But if you look at 10 to 12 years of life, I can guarantee you, you can save 40% of your total cost of ownership. But more importantly, it is not the savings that is important. What is important is how much of that you can convert into actual revenues by allocating additional space for your revenue generation activities. So these were the 3 key technologies which I wanted to cover. If there are any questions, I am there available for answers. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you so much. That was wonderful. Well, ladies and gentlemen, coming towards the end, and yes, of course, thanks everybody for your participation. But yes, you're going to get a special thank, and we're moving on towards vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put your hands together and please welcome Ms. Archana Naidu. She's already here, so let's give it up for her, guys.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, date with Friday evening date with data is what I'll say. So time well spent. I think all our speakers, all our panelists did a great job. And before I continue, a huge round of applause for all the speakers. I think they did a fantastic job in making sure that, we are really in tune with times, we are in tune with technology. So ROI is the big word, and I think all of us know about the return on investment. And technology and data is at the core of everything. So when Economic Times was looking to make sure that how can we equip India and the Indian companies to be more digitally relevant, more future ready, we always look out for partners who can add value. And when we were looking at an event or a summit or an initiative on data center, Schneider Electric was the best value adding partner that we could think of, and the rest is for all of you to tell us whether we have done justice to the job at hand. So digital transformation, making sure that data is at the core of it, and data, as all our speakers have spoken, is going to play a more important role in our lives and in business, because we are also creating data, we are using data, and all of us are also managing data. So a lot of insights to take from this summit, and this is the second in the series of data transformation series that we are doing with Schneider Electric. The third one is going to be in Delhi on 2nd of December. And we aim to continue our commitment to make sure that the industry is ready, that India, that the digital aspirations of the Indian companies are met, that we are able to serve the world better, that our ever-increasing market size grows, that we are able to make sure that with all this, we are connecting the dots that India and the Indian companies have a huge potential, and we have just scratched the surface. So thank you, all of you. Thank you for making sure that this summit was a wonderful experience for all of us. I hope it was a value-adding proposition for all of you. And I hope this was a Friday evening well spent. So after food for thought, the food for tummy is awaiting, and so are the spirits. So have a great Friday evening. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have thanked all the speakers, we have thanked the audience, but yes, importantly, we forgot to thank the sponsor. Without them, the show would have not been done. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up. A huge round of applause for Schneider Electric. Let's give it up. Come on, guys. Well, thank you so much. The dinner is served at the very next hall. And yes, you can have a glass of drink. Enjoy yourself. Safe driving, guys, and have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.